Hi everyone. We thought it would be quite nice to explain to you and show to you how the songs that have been written in lockdown, how we've been doing that, how we've been putting them together, so that you can sort of have a look at the process of what it's like. Some of you will find this really interesting and some of you really won't care, and that's fine. But we're just going to go through that. So the first stage is obviously the song needs to be written. And so for the ones I've been written, I've been following things I've been reading in the Bible. Sort of as I've been talking to God, things that God's talking to me about, and just trying to write some of that down in a lyric form. Most of my songs are fairly simple, which kind of matches me. But that's a big part of it, though. Is what does the Bible say, and what is God saying about what He's doing. And then, because I'm not particularly musical, I then use things like this, which is GarageBand on my iPhone. And I use this to help me with chord structures and what chords fit with each other. It also gives me some backing beats and also stuff like that, which means as I'm starting to write a song and trying to work out what the tempo looks like, what the chord structure and how it flows, this is really helpful. And obviously, I also play my guitar and try and fit those things together as well and have a play about. And then put all those things together. And once I feel like I've got something which resembles a song, I then record it on another app which is called Voice Memos on my phone, and I literally just record me singing and my guitar in a very raw format, and then I send that to Graham, and that's when Graham does the next really important bit.
So for me, the process usually begins when I receive one of these from Paul saying that he has written a song. He'll then send me this, the lyric sheet with the chords, which I will use. I'll listen to his rough recording lots and lots of times, and I'll use that to produce one of these, which is called a lead sheet. This lead sheet is going to be used for the rest of the process because it's accurate and I can tell where I am in the song, which bar number I'm on. But before I can start doing any of the other parts, I need to send that back to Paul for him to check it and make any changes that he wants to make.
So once Graham has done all the clever stuff that Graham does, he's gone through the rough recording, he's annotated it, he's made it into proper music, he then sends it back to me. And I play through that and make sure that what is written and actually how it looks when it's on dots and lines matches how I sort of felt that the song was going to feel and how it's going to be come together. If there's any changes to that, whether we are adding a line or going to change the structure in any way, then I talk to Graham about that and he makes those changes as we go along. And we start to look at certain things we want to do, what styles we want to have on it, and what sort of drum loops we're going to add onto it, which is Graham, I'm sure, will talk about when he's talking about how he does that, and the whole feel of the song. And that even includes at this stage, we start talking about the lyric videos that we've been doing and what sort of background we want from that and all that kind of thing to help amplify what's going on with that song. And once all that's done, I've played through it all, made sure it's all okay, and we've had those kind of conversations, everything gets sent back to Graham.
So next is to record the guide track. So I will use my digital audio workstation and I'll record a very simple bass line, which I'll put to a simple basic drum loop. I'll record the vocal part over the top for Paul to listen to so that he can hear where he is in the song, and I send it back to him.
So then Graham's done that lovely backing track, he sends it to me, and what I do is I play that backing track on headphones from one device, normally a laptop or my iPad, and then I record my guitar on my iPhone on the same way I did before, but just my guitar, listening to what Graham has done for me for a backing track. And then once that's all done, it goes back to Graham.
So I take Paul's audio that he sent me of his guitar part, and I take the guide track on my digital audio workstation and I put the two things together. And then I start to add in extra parts. I'll refine the bass part so it's a bit more interesting. I'll add maybe keyboards, piano type keyboards, synthesizers, might even record a few lines of backing vocals, and any other instrumental parts. Certainly with the latest song, Where You Go, I then put in some multiple layers of different instrumental riffs, the little bit at the beginning that you hear with the mandolin and the flute and the accordion. I put all of those in, pile them all in on top. Then I will try and create the drum loop so that it fits the shape of the song a little bit better. and then I kind of polish it all up a little bit, only a little bit, just to make it sound a little bit more like the real song. And guess what? I send it back to Paul.
So now, as a vocalist, or the other people that have done vocals like Lydia and Athena, what we then do is that we receive a track back from Graham, that lovely track that's got everything in it effectively. It's just ready for our vocals. And so using my phone again, I record my vocal, listening to that track again through another device, my earphones, and recording it on my iPhone. We do that maybe 2 or 3 times, depends on how well we sang it and whether there's any errors that we make as we go along. But also Graham likes to have at least 2 of us singing at the same time, so my vocal twice, because then he does some very clever computer stuff and joins them together so that we get a nice better range from what's looking at. So once that's all done and I've been able to do that, back to Graham.
Well, now that I've got the vocal parts, the lead vocal recorded a couple of times and the backing vocals recorded a couple of times, again I can mix those all in on my digital audio workstation again. But this time I am going to try and make it all sound a little bit more polished. So I will cut parts out, I will put extra parts in. So if I think a particular line sounds like it needs more vocals on, I'll duplicate those vocals and just make it sound a little bit thicker. But one of the big jobs at this point is actually taking something that sounds like this that you are listening to now and trying to make it sound a bit more like this. And that will sound a lot more impressive when it's mixed in with all the instruments. It'll sound a lot more professional. Once that's all been mixed and layered and edited, I'll then export that audio and put it into a video production program. That final audio that I've mixed and edited and made to sound all pretty goes into this program, which is a video editing program, and I simply find images that fit with the lyrics, or more recently we've been using video loop. So Paul found the video loop of the little boy with the aeroplane, which he liked, and I stick that in with the audio, and then the final job really is getting all the lyrics written in little boxes and getting them lined up with where Paul sings them. And to be honest, that's it. That's the final video that you guys see when we release it on YouTube.
And so there it is. That's how we get from song idea to final song, all produced, and all the different layers, all the different instruments and vocals, and how we put that into a video. Obviously, as you can tell, Graham plays a major part in all this, and so there's a big thanks to Graham for everything that he does in making sure these things work. I hope you've enjoyed seeing how we do that sort of thing, if that sort of sparked your interest. And it leaves us to say one more thing really, is that this process is collaborative, and therefore it's not just isolated to me and Graham or anyone else in the worship team. It can be anyone. And so if you in lockdown have been creative in any way, we as a leadership would like to see that. We'd like to see what God's been speaking to you about, and in any way that he's been speaking to you through. So it'd be a poem, a song, pictures, whatever it is, we'd like to see it. And particularly if there's any songs that you've been writing, anything that's coming out, then please send them to me. Either send me just the lyrics or send me you singing them over on your phone as well. My email address for church is paul.farmer@deeranbaptist.org. I'd love to hear them. I'd love to see what God's saying to you. And who knows, maybe we'll be getting in touch with you and saying, let's record your song as well. So have a great day, everyone, and I'm sure we'll see you soon. Bye.